know here, my name is Chad Klein. I'm an account manager for Paladin. Been doing this for a few years now. And I'm excited about today's topic. I think that these dials are a really cool, unique feature inside of Paladin, and I think they're a little bit underused. So let's take a look at this here. Shouldn't be longer than 10, 15 minutes. We're going to try to keep it pretty short, to the point, quick and easy, as I'm sure you guys got a bunch of stuff that you need to do with your day. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Paladin Insight overview. What is Paladin Insight? Those are the dials themselves. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Lost Opportunity dial. That is the first one in the set of 4. There's the meter itself, then there's the viewer, then there's the tool, kind of some best practices, how to use it, why is it there, what is it used for. Then we have some examples of kind of how to interpret the data that it's throwing at you. And then, as always, we've linked some webinar or some resources for you guys, knowledge base articles, that sort of thing. Okay, so the Paladin Insight dashboard. I think that these dials are really can be summed up in they're trying to give store owners the information that they may not know to ask for in the first place. We get so caught up in these tiny little detail things that we forget to kind of pull back and look at the 40,000-foot view. So that's what these dials are, is just an attempt to say, hey, this is information you guys should know. And it's actionable information that we can do things with. So now the 40,000-foot view, key performance indicator for the entire store. And these 4 dashboards right here, just kind of a little teaser. This is the first set of many different dashboards that we're going to have come out. I've heard some rumors of some other really cool dashboards that track some other really, really cool things inside of Paladin, maybe stock per square foot, turns, that sort of thing. So we've got some really cool stuff coming down the line as far as future dashboards. These dashboards are utilizing Paladin's market-driven inventory management system. So it's taking all of the data that it's collecting and analyzing every day off of every sale that it's collecting, and then using that information, pushing it through its algorithms in the background, and then giving us some information about what it's figured out here. These can be found in the inventory module. When you pull it up, you have to have the correct permissions. So if you don't see it for whatever reason, go and give yourself the permissions for Paladin Insight. And this is before you bring an item up. So you click on inventory, they should be right there. Dials, and they'll spin for a second, and then come up. Those dials take a long time to spin and catch up. We recently just come out with a managed service tool called the Swifter. It goes through, and we won't get into it right now, but it cleans up a bunch of past history and makes things a lot quicker in Paladin. So, and one of the measuring sticks for quickness is these dials. How fast do they figure out everything that's going on the first time that you look at them? How long do they load? If it's an inordinate amount of time, give us a call. There's some things that we can probably do to speed up not only the dial's performance, but the entire computer's performance. But they'll be right there. You'll see them. A little bit of background here. Paladin is run and managed by a bunch of plane enthusiasts. In fact, for many years, we used to operate out of a hangar. When I first started here in Paladin, I was assigned to a corrugated tin wall with a table on it and a notepad and a pen, and said, "Welcome to Paladin." And it was big and nice and open. It was kind of cool in the summer. We could open up the entire 1/3 of the building, and it was almost like we were working outside. Come a long way since then, and now, of course, have our own nice little headquarters facilities here and beautiful office and everything. But so that's just why so a little background as to why these dials look the way that they do is because Paladin's ran by a bunch of plane enthusiasts, and they really like their dashboards here. I'm sure that the dials inside their plane look very similar to that. Okay, let's move on here. So what is lost opportunity? Now, when a customer cannot find an item in your store because it's out of stock, you have lost a sales opportunity. Now, did we just lose that one item? I had a list of 5 things when I came into your store. Did I lose just the sales on that one item? Probably not. You statistically lost sales on the entire list of things, because as a purchaser, we don't, especially us men, we're the worst. We don't really like going through multiple checkout lanes. I mean, women don't either, but just as a general statement, we'll come in. If you have 2 of the 5 items that I need, I probably won't get any of those items from you. I'm going to go to the next guy in town and buy all 5 from him because I'm in a busy rush and I don't want to go through a checkout lane twice. Statistically speaking, it's going to be 5 times when I come into town, go into a hardware store or any type of store, before I come back to your store, because we weren't able to handle my needs. That now became a customer loyalty issue. You lost the loyalty from me, and statistically, it's going to be 5 times of me coming to stores like yours before I come back to yours specifically. So really, really, really important. You're not just losing opportunity, you're losing customer loyalty. Having the right items in the right stock at the right time is a customer loyalty issue. Not to mention, when I go into a store buying one thing, do I ever just buy that one thing? No, I come out with some nail files or some clippers or maybe an extra tube of window caulking or a handful of fasteners that I saw there. I was like, oh yeah, I do need those, right? So we go in, we see all these little value items that we add into our cart. So by not having the right items, yes, you're affecting my loyalty. You're also losing a lot of money, more than just the amount that we can quantify, because we didn't know we don't know what we are not selling because we didn't have the items that they came in for, so we're not getting sales on the items that they didn't come in for. So the lost opportunity tool is going to show you, hey, these are the items that are out of stock, and it's going to predict the loss of potential opportunities at the bottom of it. So the meter is the first one on the dial here, the lost opportunity meter. That little 10.36 right there, that is a number that you can multiply by 1,000 to get the actual number. So when Paladin's saying in an example like this, 10.36, then it's saying, hey, you are out $10,360 over a 4-week time frame. So that's what that means right there, that 10.36. Multiply it by 1,000. That is what Paladin thinks you are not going to make in the next 4 weeks by not having the items that it's telling you to in stock. And again, I think that number is a really, really low estimate. I think you could probably multiply it by at least twice to account for the sales that you're missing out, that you didn't know that you're missing out on, right? Because we could have sold a bunch of other stuff if we would have had these items, and kind of maximized our potential with that customer. The lost opportunity viewer. So when you actually click on the dial itself, well, not on the dial, the little magnifying glass, you guys know how Paladin works. Find a little magnifying glass, click on it, it'll pop up the actual viewer itself. At the upper left-hand corner, it says, you can't do business from an empty wagon. Kind of an old trope saying, hey, we got to have items to sell items. Makes sense, right? Now, this is not just a list of every item that I have out of stock in my store. This is a list of every item that I have out of stock in my store that Paladin thinks I can sell this order cycle, this time of year, this week. So let's say that it's December, I sell rock salt, or let's say it's August actually, and I sell rock salt. Rock salt, technically speaking, would be an active inventory item. Would it be on this list right here? Probably not, because it's August. If Paladin has the correct history in it, and has enough history in it, it's probably going to show that we don't sell that much rock salt in August, and so we don't need to buy any. So this is not just a list of items that are out of stock in your store, period. This is a list of items that are out of stock that Paladin thinks you can generate sales on this time of year. So it's a little bit more intelligent than just out of stock list. Items not on this list, if you have items that are on a purchase order, they will not be here either, because Paladin say, oh, it's on a purchase order, you're about ready to order these items. The estimates are provided by the market-driven inventory management system down there at the bottom. So we kind of have a pretty good forecast, depending on how much history we have in there. We got a pretty good forecast of what Paladin, how many of these items you could sell. And because we know your cost and your retail price, Paladin's going to calculate what you're not making by not selling these items. So it does that over a 4-year period of time, which is that bottom right-hand corner figure right down there. And then that's your 4-week lost money. And then 4-week lost profit, that is your net loss. This is raw profit dollars that we could have made that we didn't by not selling these items. You can view the item's details if you click the magnifying glass right next to it. And then, as always in Paladin, you can hit the escape key to go back a screen and go back to the lost opportunity viewer. So a bunch of different information going on here. You got your 52+ week quantity. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next webinar here in a few weeks because we want to start using this tool to clean up inventory. Perhaps an item's out of stock, but it hasn't been sold in the last 64 years or 64 weeks. So is it a discontinued item? Is it something that needs to be deleted? We're going to talk about some of the steps that you can use to clean up your inventory here in the next couple weeks. Organize this by lost revenue. So, what are my big ticket items? The item with the largest revenue estimate will be at the top of the list. You can click any of these columns to sort any of them from highest to lowest. So make sure you're at least looking at the items with the largest revenue loss. Definitely a good idea to start implementing some of these best practices about this information. So in the lost opportunity viewer, you can evaluate the item with the largest revenue loss first. And then in order to prevent that loss, you can create purchase orders against it. If we run out of the item, or oh, hey, we need to order that item. Great, that's too late. You are too late if we've run out of the item. We don't dig the well when we're thirsty. We dig it way before we're thirsty. So, because it takes a while to get the well. Who knows how many sales you've lost out and the amount of time that you noticed you didn't have any to the amount of time that you actually got the items that you didn't have. And you didn't just miss out on those, you missed out on every other sale that you would have purchased in with that item. And you missed out on future purchases to that customer because he now knows that your store doesn't have the items in stock that he needs. And if there's a chance that he'll tell one of his friends, his or her friends, hey, this guy doesn't have very much stock at his store, he wasn't able to fulfill my need. Well, now we've created a huge big problem for ourselves by multiplying this loss exponentially because we're now telling other people about it. So make sure that we're at least looking over those top 10 items in the lost opportunity viewer. Create your purchase order based off of it. If you're not using the suggested order, you certainly should be. These two things are married to each other, the suggested order and this lost opportunity viewer. In fact, the lost opportunity viewer and the suggested order report is running the same basic series of mathematical equations in the background to give you these answers. So running your suggested order report will become, and ordering those items will go a really long way as far as cleaning up this item, making sure that we never have to spend a long time at the lost opportunity viewer because we've done a good job of not having any out-of-stock items. And we've noticed those items before they got out of stock, not only when they are out of stock. Okay, so finally here we got some examples of items that we have in Paladin and what they kind of mean here. So there's a really good chance that we can sell this item in the next 4 weeks because it is on the lost opportunity in the first place, right? By not having this item in stock, we risk losing conservatively an estimated $440. We can see that under the lost revenue right there. Right next to it, we have the lost profit. That is what our net gain, our net loss. Well, the money, the in my pocket dollars, I will not be going home with because I didn't have this item in stock. Not to mention all the other items, but this is just the number that we can quantify there. Or the not to mention the other loss of potential customer loyalty as well, which is just going to mean more lost money. Here's another item for you guys. We can see the 52 weeks, 136. That means we've sold 136 of these items in the last year. We've got a 0 on the weeks of stock, that weeks out of stock. That means that we've ran out of it at some point in the last 7 days. And we've got an item like this, we've sold 136. Pretty important that we keep this item in stock so we can keep those sales going. Looks like we sell quite a bit of them. If we had the item in stock, we could earn about $370 in revenue and about $120 in profit over the next 4 weeks, which we, of course, will not be getting because we do not have these items in stock. And again, this revenue does not include additional items that the customer may purchase or future revenue from customer loyalty generated here. So again, this is just the number that we can quantify, that we can say, hey, this number times this number equals this loss, without taking into account all of the other items that the customer probably would have purchased if they were in your store that we can't quantify here. And that's it, guys. Pretty easy stuff. Go into that dial. It's the first one right there in the inventory management pull it up, look it over, start playing with it a little bit, get familiarized with it. It's a really strong tool and can be really powerful and help our job so we don't have to walk around the aisle every day and shoot for outs. That's just an annoying process and takes a long time, and turns out that we're not as good at it as the computer can be. And we can't do it as fast either. So let the computer do it and save you guys a little time. Do we have any questions? Let's look. Let's look, yeah. Awesome. Looks like we don't have any questions. Guys, thanks as always for your time. We will be doing the next one in a few weeks here. Keep an eye on your little customer or on your Paladin viewer in the home screen there, your little update box. You can see all the webinars that we have coming through and go ahead and get signed up for them as you probably did that to get here today. So yeah, thanks as always for your time, and we will see you in a few weeks.